Beth Hart, welcome. What a
So
great
nice.
sound.
Thank you.
How are you holding up in the altitudes? Doing okay?
Yeah, you guys got me some oxygen backstage, so I've been
Yeah.
on that.
All right.
But you know the weird thing is that I was really not feeling well last night at all, like bad last night. And I love to go swimming, so I went to the swimming hole over here at the recreational center, and all of a sudden I got all this energy back. But then when I got here, I had to do the thing again.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Drink water.
Yeah.
Don't forget to breathe.
Okay.
Hey, you sound great. Hey,
Thank you.
so was that right that you started playing music when you were 4 years old?
Yeah, piano.
So was that your parents just thought you had some talent and wanted to see if you took to it, or what happened?
Yeah, my dad was really great about kind of putting everybody involved with music or sports or whatever they were kind of interested in.
Yeah.
But I didn't, learn to read. I kind of faked out my teacher, and she ended up firing me when I was like 7 or 8. So, yeah.
Your first getting fired from a gig when you're 7.
That's
That
right.
could really build some character.
Yes.
And when did the cello show up?
Cello showed up in the 4th grade, and I just, what I really wanted to play was I wanted to do upright bass, and I wanted to do the bass in the orchestra, and that was like my favorite instrument in the world. I liked it better than piano, but they didn't have any basses left, so I said, will you give me the next biggest instrument, and that was the cello. Yeah.
I'm sure that's the same thing that happened with like Yo-Yo Ma. I think he was like wanting to be a bass player, but they're out of basses. And, so then, and what were you listening to when you were 7 years old? What kind of music did you like?
I was listening to a lot of classical music as a really young girl, and it's still probably my favorite music, and certainly my favorite singers are the opera singers. They're just genius, crazy music.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so then how did you get from opera to singing in bars?
Well, I mean, when I was like 10, I got turned on to Sabbath and Zeppelin and Rush. I was a big Rush fan. And then my mother was playing me a lot of Billie Holiday and Dinah Washington and Frank Sinatra. So there was a lot of the American songbook music as well as jazz music going around. Yeah. But I was studying with a lady named Rhonda Dillon, and she said to me, she goes, you like to do your own thing with this type of music. You can't do that. You cannot rewrite great classical pieces. And she said, I love you, Beth, but I'm just letting you know now, you should maybe think of doing something else. And I was like, oh, I'm so heartbroken, but it was okay. And, she was honest, so yeah.
Because you wanted to improvise, you wanted to just let the music take you where,
Yeah.
And so those early days in LA, I read that you had a rough patch in your late 20s.
Oh, yeah. I had a lot of rough patches all over the place, but yeah, the worst one was in my late 20s, yeah. And I almost died. It was bad.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So just bad hanging around with the wrong people, or what was the deal?
Since I was, I guess I was 10, 11 is when I started messing around with alcohol and starving and bulimia and drugs. I started really young. But my friends and my family didn't know it because I had like my own crew that I had on the side. And when I was feeling tension, and I hadn't been diagnosed with bipolar, so I was trying to make myself feel normal. So I was using periodically. And then I think when Atlantic, I was with them for a couple of records, Atlantic Records, and it was my second record, and suddenly there was all this intense attention and stuff, and I was, not being medicated. So that's when it just became out of control. Before it was great. It was like I could use it as a tool, and it would make me feel better.
What, heroin, or what were you using?
I was really into pills and coke and speed and whatever I could get my hands on. I did get into heroin, but just snorting it when I was 15. I ran away from home when I was 14, and I lived in Brooklyn, New York for a little while. So I got on it then. Yeah, terrible. Terrible.
Soon to be a major motion picture. Sounds like. I mean, that's.
But it's so cliche.
It's kind of cliche.
They made that movie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And so, but you have such great feeling as a player and as a singer. You just really feel the music. I can tell.
Thank you. Thank you.
Let's talk about some of these guitar guys that have been in your world.
Oh my God.
Joe Bonamassa being one. He's been on eTown before.
Yeah, Joe is amazing. And it's weird because I first worked with Jeff. I did a tour with him in the United States, and we did some writing together, but it was Slash that came to one of Jeff's shows, and then he contacted me to write with him on his record. And then out of nowhere, I heard from Joe to do the same thing, to make an album, not of writing, but of covers, of like great soul covers. And I was like, so what do you mean soul? Like, does it go across the board? Can we do jazz? Can we do soulful rock? Can we do real classic soul? Can we do it? And he's like, yeah, do whatever you want to do. And he was so amazing to me. I was so nervous, but he was amazing. He's been amazing to me.
And he's a guy who can sell some tickets too.
Yeah, man. You see, he's on the top of the world. Look at that.
It's
doing
wild.
blues, man. It's like, it's just awesome.
Yeah.
Good for him.
So that was a nice little rocket boost for you.
Yeah.
Introduced you to a bunch of people.
Did.
And then of course you play some music with Jeff Beck from time to time.
Yes, yeah, I love
Another
him.
guy
He's my
pretty good at
favorite
the
guitar
guitar.
player of all time.
Wow.
Yeah, and like you guys, I swear to you, when you hang out with Jeff or you work with Jeff, he's forever 14 years old, the most enthusiastic, humble, shy, sweetest man.
Yeah.
In the world. Just you see that talent, and then you see a human being behind that talent, and you go, God knew what he was doing. He gave it to the right guy.
Oh,
you know?
that's cool.
Yeah, it's awesome.
You know, and Buddy Guy is another one who, you know, we had a great couple of visits with him here at eTown.
You did?
Yeah, and Joe's been here too. Yeah. Anyway, but he's a guy who also just has such humble beginnings and such feeling in his music, but he's also a showman, you know.
Yeah, isn't he the best showman
Yeah,
ever?
he's the best.
I know.
He can
He's
work a crowd.
crazy.
Yeah. So you got to sing for him at the Kennedy Center. That must have been
I
exciting.
did. It was so exciting. And you know, I usually get nervous about everything. I got a lot of insecurities. So whatever I do, if I go to the market, I get insecure. But it was like God gave me a break that day. Here I go out, I'm playing for the president, and all these, like Aretha Franklin's there. She's sitting in that row, and all my heroes, Yo-Yo Ma was there, and I'm seeing him. And for some reason, I had no nervousness. The only time in my life I got to have no nervousness. It was just like, God just said, enjoy this. Enjoy it, no fear. It was so fun.
Cool.
So
That's
fun.
cool.
Yeah.
Well, you've had a lot of success, well-deserved success. And I know particularly in Europe and Holland, they go crazy. You sold 5,500 tickets at some club there or something like that.
Yeah, we
Big-
just played there. Yeah.
Amazing. And you found a good guy eventually.
Oh my God, you guys. Yeah, I mean.
It took some trying. didn't
Yeah, you know, I'm actually going to do a song that I wrote for my father later, but my dad left when I was really young for another woman. He left my mother for another woman, and I was so addicted and close to my father. So after that, I just would go out searching for any guy, even if he physically beat me up. At least it was attention. He wouldn't ignore me. But I never, ever thought I'd have children or get married because I thought you get hurt. I can't go through that again. I can't go through being left again. And then at my worst, in my late 20s, is when I met Scott, my husband, who I've been with ever since I was 27. And he is just like, and I don't want to start crying, but he has been so tender, you know, and so loving to me. So,
Well, you are one of the most appropriately named artists in music today because you have a huge heart. You care a lot. I read recently that you had been reading a book about refugees.
Yeah.
And just thinking about the blues, thinking about being down on your luck, having a hard time.
Yeah.
But then that puts everything really in perspective, doesn't it?
It really does. It's like, you can never say your problems don't matter because you see someone else going through something worse, because obviously it's all you know, whatever your pain is. But when I do read books like that and you see people, what they go through and what they can survive, it is so incredibly inspirational, you know, really is amazing. And we're so blessed, you know. Yeah.
Well, again, it comes to that thing where if you're going to feel a lot, if that's cranked up to 11, you're going to feel everything. So it's great. We're lucky to have people like you.
Aww.
I want to just ask you one last thing before we get back to music. You've been able to collaborate with so many people and travel and make a lot of great music with lots of folks. Any kind of bucket list stuff left where you're just like, man, I really want to do this one thing?
Yeah, Leonard Cohen, but he passed. I just wanted to get his coffee for him in the studio, man. Anything, you know. But Tom Waits, I would love, do anything to work with him. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool because that really speaks to you as a songwriter. You know, it's really about somebody who cares about the songs and about the craft and the, you know, emotional depth of, because, you know, that's what they're about, certainly. Well, listen, congratulations. Thank you so much for coming. This is not, this, it's taken us long enough to figure this out, so I'm glad you're here. We've got lots more music. Welcome back, if you would, Beth Hart.
Thank you, thank you.
Hi, this is Nick Forster from eTown. If you want to stay up to date with all the performances, interviews, and behind-the-scenes footage, click the subscribe button. Thanks.